Hey guys, Louis here, and welcome back to Acorn Hill. Today's episode of Acorn Hill is a mixture of many things that interest me, many things that I find good to get into, ranging from a collection of books, pop-up books that I have to leading into today's project, which is making origami lanterns, parol, and the like. I have a video on YouTube about the traditional Filipino parol making, and it's hitting quite well on YouTube. I will put a link on the description below, and we'll also put a linkable card up on the screen so you can click on it and take a look. But for today, we will be translating that traditional parol into making them as paper parol origami style. The principle of learning and making this can be applied for doing ornaments, doing an astral parol that you can hang by the window, and in my case today I will be making a tree topper for our Christmas tree using this 3D style parol lantern pattern. But before I do that, I wanted to give you an idea of where this project came about and what the inspiration came from. I own and collect many pop-up books, and these pop-up books range from the ones that are suited for grown-ups and ones that are suited for kids. I've always been fascinated by paper and its properties, how if you fold a piece of paper that's flat, it could continue to increase its strength using its tensile properties into something that's rigid, as demonstrated by these little ornaments and these little lanterns. So I wanted to just show you a few things that really fascinate me with paper. My favorite pop-up book is this book. It's the Architectural Wonders pop-up book, and it just shows quite a few of the well-known architectural landmarks like the Notre Dame in Paris, and we have the Taj Mahal. I think it's just magical, and I think the little kid in me is still fascinated by these books. Of course, in this book that I particularly have, one of my favorites is arguably the Empire State Building, that you can just see it pops up really neatly and folds very seamlessly into the book. But as many of you know, my most favorite global architectural wonder is the Sydney Opera House, and it is captured and depicted very, very well in this book. So like I said, it's a little show and tell today of what was the jumping off point for this project that I have. Let's go back into what really I wanted to show you guys today, and it's making these paper lanterns. I have swap outs, and I already have some pre-made ones, but what you need for this project is simple: good cardstock. And these cardstocks I've cut into different sizes. This particular size parol will come from a 6x6 square. Very easy to make, and I'll show you how to do it step by step. There's also a parol that is made from a 5x5 cardstock. And what you need to make this 3D lantern is a pair of square size good cardstock. They are medium to heavy in density and in grade, that it's good to fold and good to keep its shape. So you need two of them. I have a pair of 6x6s over here. You need a bone folder, and that's just to keep all these folds nice and crisp and really sharp for when we start shaping the stars. The thing that I like about this is that it gives it that 3D look, almost similar to a Moravian star. So, and you also need a ruler, a pair of sharp scissors. So we'll set those aside, and a ballpoint pen so that we could use it to mark the cut line for the star. First thing to do is to fold this halfway up into a rectangle. Now, The bone folder is important here because this is what you will use to glide and swipe along the fold line to give that fold a crisp appearance. And you will need that later for when we start assembling this. And then the next thing to do is you unfold it, fold it the other way, creating 4 quadrants. You use the bone folder again, and you run that just along that seam line, that fold line, and there goes your quadrant. From here, from that orientation of the paper, you bring it to a diamond orientation, and now you fold the paper from here going all the way up. And this is where you need to carefully put those points together, closely together. Hold those points down well and just lightly run your finger to get that initial fold line. You end up having a triangle. Place a triangle this way and unfold it, because you are now about to fold the diamond, creating that seam across from this point to that point. And you hold those points together. Again, run your finger lightly. And you do this for the second 6x6 piece of paper. Alright, so here's your 2 pieces of 6x6. So you now end up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right-sided triangles in the form of folds within one 6x6 piece of paper. When it's oriented square, and what you do is you measure 1.25 inches from the edge. So there's my 0 mark, and there's the 1.25 mark. You draw a line from 0 to 1 and 1 for 1.25. And you do the same thing, doing it on four sides of the square, coming from the straight side, 3rd 1.25, and let's do the 4th 1.25. This is important that it's even and accurate, because those lines will be the cut line. You will use your pair of scissors to cut them straight through, all the way up to the end of the ballpoint mark. So far, so good, right? It's fairly easy. What we've done is we prepared for ourselves a 6x6 piece of paper. We started folding this way, then the other way. We used the bone folder so we can really get the line in the fold nice, crisp and sharp. We again folded diagonally then to create a triangle, and then the opposite diagonal fold to create another triangle. Then we determined the 1.25 mark coming from the outside of the straight side of the square, moving in. Same goes for that. There's 1.25 inches, and we cut them on 4 sides. Now that we've determined that, we are now about to prepare the points, and that point of the star will look like this. Now how do we do that? Easier for me, easier for a beginner, just orient the paper into a diamond orientation. Then you fold this excess, this negative space from that point of the square to the cut line is where now you will fold. This negative space right here is what's going to go up and over to fold over and meet the other one. So the easiest thing to do, because this paper is strong and you don't want any inaccurate fold, what I do is I pre-fold by putting a ruler from that point up to the end of the cut line. See? Now the beauty of watching a YouTube video is you can always pause, you can always rewind, you can always repeat. So what I'm doing is I'm pre-folding by using the ruler as the template, as the guide, so that I could get that sharp fold, especially at that very end of that paper. So now that I have that, then I can pretty much fold it. That top point where we have the fold will go exactly at the fold seam for this line. Again, run your bone folder right on that fold line so we can get a nice, clean, and crisp fold. Now here's another bit. From that point to that end, you use your ruler again, forming an invisible line. This is what you fold over. You can also use your bone folder to do this, creating a nice pre-fold for that side. And then you use the bone folder to finally give it that sharp fold. And that is the perfect point for each one. You fold them here as well. You got to do all 4 corners and eyeball it so that they both meet up there and that the point is sharp on that end of the paper. Now I use my bone folder again. And you do this on the other 2 sides. And I already have a swap out for that. That's this. Okay? And then here's the other one. The next thing to do is to bond and glue this negative space or this fold of the paper toward the underside of that fold. So that when we do that, let's just do a dry run. It will create that 3D point. That would be that for the star. Now you could turn this paper, a flat piece of paper, into something like this. And again, that's the art of origami. That's the art of paper construction, paper engineering, similar to what they do in the books that I showed you, where a piece of cardstock, a flat piece of material, could be turned into something dynamic and moving, as in the case of the pop-up box that I have. So I got my glue. This is called the tacky glue. It sets in 5 to 10 seconds. It is a lot thicker compared to regular glue. It's just as easy as dabbing your glue right over there. By doing so, it spreads really well and covers the surface area of the underside of that point. And I hold that 2 fingers and I count to 10. Then we do it again over here. Now we're ready to do this side, the star. That piece of paper, that fold goes under the one paper on top, and we hold that again. And we do the same thing to all the other points and the other folds of the star. So now what we are doing is constructing something 3-dimensional from a flat piece of paper. We got the last point. There we go. We hold that in place. You hold them in place and you use a pen and you slide that pen under. That part of the pen goes on it gives pressure along the underside of this tunnel and it holds it in place. So when you flip it, voila, there's your perfect star. Neat, isn't it? Now, I'm going to forward the tape as I make the other star, and I will show you how to put one star over the other so that we could have this 3D look to the star, the parol that we are making. I got my swap outs, 2 4-point stars, perfectly folded. How you could turn those into this is we will just marry the 2 by gluing them together this way. Gives it a lot of depth, it gives it a lot of structure. It's great that you can turn something flat into this, turn it into something like this individually, put them together, and you end up having this. That's what origami is. That's the property of paper. Turns paper from holding the bottom star now. What I've done is I've ran beads of glue. That's where the top star, it will hit, parts of that star will hit the bead of glue. And that's what's going to hold them together and adhere them together. Remnants of the glue, they will dry clear. 5 seconds to 10 seconds, you hold them, but you can see how strong that glue is. It's not falling off, and that thing is stuck and ready to dry. I use a jar, a glass, and I place it right on top Let that dry for about an hour. Now, I have done this application for ornament to actual parol by your window. I think that is a great idea. For tree topper for our big Christmas tree in the living room. And this is an 11 by 11 piece of paper that I will attempt to turn into a star like this for our tree topper. So I'm not going to show you how that's done, but I'll show you clips of our actual Christmas tree once I have the tree topper done and made. It's a good project for kids. It teaches them discipline, patience, task building, hand-eye coordination. That tactile sensation in building and making, I think, is great for kids. I hope you consider doing this, and if you do, tag me or put a comment on the comment section. I hope I was able to share with you something different and you learned something new. This is Louie coming from Acorn Hill. Christmas is coming. We'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.